Hello, and welcome to House and Home Chat Real Estate Real Talk with Dena and Chris. I'm Chris Breitenbach.
And I'm Dena Mathis, and we are so excited to be sharing with you a brand new business. We're going to be talking about that today. In just a short minute, we'll be chatting with Rene LaBar, who is the owner of LaBark Place Dog Daycare and Overnights.
Our dogs are such important members of our family, and we want to make sure that they're receiving all they need to have the happiness that they deserve. So we are so excited to talk with Rene about all that LaBark has to offer.
And in the Real Talk Real Estate portion of our program, Chris and I will be discussing the city of Lebanon, Ohio, where LaBark is located. It's a great place to live, just north of our beloved city of Cincinnati, Ohio. But for now, we are here to welcome Rene to our program.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us, Rene.
Thanks for being with us. We greatly appreciate it. We always start off our programs with our guests to have you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been doing, believe it or not, I did personal training for years
and
and years and years.
I think I remember you now, but I'm thinking about it from Lifetime.
Yes, I actually was a trainer there years and years ago.
Well, I've been a member there forever. So,
yes. And I hurt my back and have not been able to work out, so I do not have my muscles on right now.
Okay, you look pretty good.
I was a stay-at-home mom in Mason. I raised 3 kids, did personal training part-time.
Okay.
And then just to fast forward, when COVID kind of hit, we all
changed a lot for everybody.
Yeah. And my one daughter decided she was going to move back home. So we actually really enjoyed our time together, but you're thinking, like, what are we going to do? So we used to do a lot of volunteer work, with my kids and stuff like that. So we were trying to think of something, and she's like, why don't we foster some dogs? And I happen to love dogs, and I was like, that is a fantastic idea. So we ended up fostering, and then she ended up moving out, and I continued fostering, and
she left you.
And to be honest with you, I think I was enjoying it and getting a lot more out of it than the dogs were. And
so
it just
grew
was
a real
super, it was super rewarding. And then on top of that, when I did foster fail one of my dogs, it ended up being a pretty much special needs dog. So it has floating hips. It needed a hip replacement, needs another hip replacement at 1. And then it has a patella luxation and a knee that needs surgery. So I didn't feel comfortable leaving my dog with any daycare. My kids are getting older. They
see where we're going.
And I was like, well, why don't I open a dog daycare and overnight? And I just started researching it. And found out that there was like a big need for special care that I couldn't find for my dog.
So when you say special care, so I guess at your dog daycare, you'll take dogs that have special needs.
Yes. We will do special needs, and we primarily are a daycare and an overnight. We take your typical dog. That's the majority of our dogs. But we do have accommodations called butler service, or we have a senior lounge where we have a limited number of dogs that are literally with our staff members and get to know our staff members. And you would feel comfortable leaving your dog there because they're not just thrown in a daycare situation with a ton of dogs without a lot of supervision.
So that was part of what I'm thinking, is that, and not just those special needs dogs, but some dogs are more aggressive. Some dogs are very, docile and shy, like my buddy, right?
I'm not calling your buddy shy.
But he likes people more than he likes other dogs. Right. So tell us a little bit about how you separate those dogs and what someone can expect.
So we call that our COVID dogs that have like more of the, like social anxiety. And that would be appropriate for them. We don't take highly aggressive dogs because we have a smaller facility that we don't have the facility to separate that much. So if a dog's aggressive my goal is to have my facility as safe as possible, so
For
people
sure.
feel comfortable bringing their dogs. But if a dog is shy, or if it's very submissive and it tends to get picked on in a dog daycare,
Yeah.
or it just loves people and it's not really as into dogs as much as it is people.
Right.
We have something called butler service, where you would only have 3 dogs up front, and then they could do daycare as they saw fit. So we would kind of like ease them into the social situation and kind of like teach them to be social without having to like throw them into a situation.
So this would have been perfect for my buddy who we tried to take to a daycare once and literally sat at the door for hours and didn't move.
Yeah.
And then he did have to go to a place overnight once and literally watched the door the entire time.
Yes, and they do sometimes start out that way. You have to understand they just were dropped off at a strange place and they know nobody. So sometimes they're scared and they don't know where they are. So the difference between, I would say, our place and maybe like a bigger facility would be that our staff has eyes on that, and we do a temperament test first where we observe them for 2 hours. If they're in that situation, we really try to comfort them. We don't just leave them. So we'll take them back to the front. We'll love on them a little bit, and then we'll bring them back, and then we will tell, if they want to board, we'll suggest them bringing them to daycare maybe for an hour, 2 hours, and then kind of building up so they feel like it's their family there, or it's someone that they can trust instead of just throwing them into, a situation that's.
And I even think, even for knowing mom and dad or somebody's coming back for them.
Exactly.
Their humans are coming back.
Yeah. Little points of time.
So you say you're a small place. What does that mean in terms of numbers?
So we don't board more than 16 dogs for nighttime, and as far as like numbers overall, we do daycare, we do temperament tests, but we don't have over 30 dogs in our facility at a time. And I like it that way. So every single one of my employees knows each dog personally, and they don't get lost in the shuffle. Like there's not like
they're just like our kids. You drop your kid off at daycare and you worry, but I mean, we worry about our dogs the exact same way.
And I want them to be at a place that feels more homey to them. So we have a lot of sofas, and we have like a senior lounge that has a chair and a TV. And
so literally for the senior dogs.
We have a place for them to feel safe too, because like sometimes it's too much for them. And they can go into daycare too. But they can also come back to the senior lounge where there's only maybe a few dogs.
They come back
and they can relax.
Those younger dogs that are
chill out.
spunky do become overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming. That's amazing. I love that, how you're very attentive to the dogs and their needs. You do the temperament testing, and that you are watching them to kind of see how they're developing throughout the time that they're there, and accommodate to how they're doing.
And do you does size make a difference, or do you do things based on temperament?
So what we're trying to do, and of course we're new, but we're trying to.
How new are you?
We've been open for 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. So we're pretty new.
Yeah.
But I am putting dogs. We have all good dogs. I'm not going to say with a 2-hour temperament test that that dog inside and out, but we do fail a lot of dogs and tell them they can't come because we do want it to be a safe place. So
you have every dog assessed.
We have them all assessed,
and if they fail the temperament test, then
they fail it.
They're not allowed.
They can't, and it's hard.
It's
hard for me to tell people that, but
I can imagine, right?
Your dog failed.
Your dog failed the temperament test.
And it's for the safety of all the dogs. For everybody, and we can separate the dogs. So we do have we can separate them. And we do, and we've got like our senior lounge, and we've got our butler service, and then we've got our outdoor area, and then we have a divider. But we've been pretty lucky with our larger group of dogs are able to stay together, and then we have some special needs dogs where we don't. But so we separate them based on our temperament test and like observation, and if we think they can handle it, and then kind of easing them into the situation instead of throwing them into the situation. Our tests and our intros to the other dogs are very slow.
Okay.
And some of them don't need it.
Right.
Some of the dogs, you know, they go in there and they're like,
woohoo!
yeah, they're like, come on, let's
Party.
go play. And the majority of our dogs, that's what they are.
Well, a lot of
But we
these
do have some
dogs
other ones.
probably developed a little bit of that, you know, need to be with their owners, like post-COVID and everything, where, you know, like my dog sits like under my desk at my foot, like, you know, when I'm working. So now I get up to, you know, walk to the kitchen and he's following me. So he wants to go, he can't be separated from me now. He's got the social anxiety. So I can see where kind of in this post-COVID world, we've created these social anxiety.
It's created anxiety for
people,
all of us, right?
Let alone
and
the dogs.
adults and children.
Yeah.
And so of course that's going to happen
Yeah.
with our pets
With
too.
our pets as well.
You know, we did a good job of making sure we walked and the dogs were walking together,
Right.
but not every dog had
Had
that.
that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, it can be a little bit traumatic, I guess.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
do you have to make an appointment in advance to come and see you, or how do you accept, you know, dogs?
So what we do, your dog needs to be spayed or neutered. It needs to be up to date on all of its vaccinations. And then we do require that 2-hour temperament test for daycare and for boarding.
Okay.
So you would give us a call we have the website, LaBarkPlace.com. So you could go on there.
And I gotta go back to the LaBark Place. I'm not
Go back.
Well, Rene LaBar
Yes.
owns LaBark.
Yes.
So is that just kind of a play on your name?
Yes,
I
yes.
love
I
it.
do too.
Or did you change your name to
Oh,
LaBar because of
no.
LaBar? No.
LaBar's LaBar.
But
That's
it
great.
did work out, and it didn't even hit me. I had already decided to open the business and then needed a name. And I had a friend, you know, I was asking, and we were kind of brainstorming. And
Yeah.
one of my friends was like, why don't we make it LaBark? And put a bark at the end. I'm like, that's excellent. Yes.
That's so awesome. So we were talking about taking the temperament test and making the
Shots
appointments and the shots and everything that's required. So you'll require that up front, then they take the temperament test, and then they just schedule time with you, or?
Yep, so they take the temperament test, and then they can put a deposit down for boarding, or they can set up daycare, and then that's it. You know, you have your registration paperwork, but then after that, they're in.
Okay.
You know, of course, if there's, you know, a situation where they can't be in anymore, we have to address that. But typically, that does not happen.
Yeah.
We do the temperament
They
test.
made it
Yes.
into LaBar.
Yes. They're there.
So
They were
made the club.
accepted.
They're in the club.
So what if, like, tomorrow, you know, we're already in the program, and then you know, tomorrow or Friday, or you know, a day or so later, I decide that, you know, I might need to drop my dog off. I mean, how far in advance do I need to let you know that I would like to drop my dog off?
So we do take overnight drop-ins or same day.
Same
We're
day,
just at a point where we are getting full.
Okay.
So it's better to make an appointment only because you know you have that space.
Right.
We do have packages, so we sell daycare packages. So if you get 10 or if you get 20, you get a discount. And then you can basically say then you're scheduled. So every Tuesday I'm coming in, every Tuesday, Thursday, and we know, and we just kind of take it off of the schedule.
So the whole dog daycare thing just fascinates
Yeah.
me. So what does a typical person do? Do they bring them a day a week? Are there people who bring them every day?
So typically I don't suggest, some people do want to bring their dog 4 or 5 days a week, and I do not suggest that. I think it's too much for the dogs, as much as I want to run the business and I want to grow the business.
But you're looking out for what's
personally
best,
for the dog. That's a lot of activity for a dog to be there 4 or 5 days a week. 4 half days would probably be okay.
Got it.
So typically we have our 1 a week, we have our 2 a week, we have our 3 day a week. That's typical. And then there are people who do want to do 4 or 5 days a week, or if they happen to be traveling and they have someone who will watch their dog overnight but works, they'll say, okay, can we bring our dog, to your daycare?
And what a good, happy,
yeah,
they're coming to somewhere familiar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So they'll maybe drop them off. Maybe that'll be a 4-day a week.
Mhm.
And the person who's watching them will drop them off before work, pick them
Yeah.
up, and then take them back so they're not completely alone.
That's a good
Yeah.
option.
So how did you, I'm like, just kudos to you, right? Because
Right.
you just had this idea and you ran with it.
Mhm.
How did you get from point A to point B?
Oh gosh, that's
Sorry.
It's like,
a
how
good
much
story.
time
I
do
mean,
you really have?
it took me a long time. And earlier we were talking about my son and my daughter. They all kind of had a part in
Yeah.
this. My son and I, we would go and actually go visit some of the dog daycares, and then I was like, gosh, these places are full, and a lot of them
And
didn't
they're-
have the they're all great,
And they're
but
probably not being attended to in the way that you structured your place.
right. And
Yeah.
then I give so much credit to
Yeah.
every one of these dog daycares because I know how much work it is
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
getting into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I had to do a lot of research on the zoning is very difficult. Just making contacts and talking to people and finding a good spot, where you could do that and do what you wanted to do in it.
Right.
So that
So you
took
went
me
from
a
being
while.
a part-time physical trainer,
Yeah, personal
mom,
trainer, yeah.
personal trainer, mom, to like an
Yes,
entrepreneur,
yeah.
businesswoman, and
Yes.
here
Yes,
you are
and
with your own
I did do
business.
a little bit of managing a couple of small companies before that, and I've taught paddleboard. I started the Voice of America Park. I started their program, so I had done all these like little projects or like startup things, and then when this came, I'm like, this is something I can do. I have the dog experience.
Mhm.
I have the small business experience. I'm like, it's a big step, and at first I was going to move and get a house where I could do it in my home,
Okay.
and then this opportunity just came up. I shouldn't say it just came up. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yes,
find
it
it,
Just came up with
but
a lot of work
it
making it happen.
was, but I found, let's put it this way, I found this place, and it was perfect, and I was like, it's a little more than I wanted to take on,
Mhm.
but I'm going to do it. I'm just gonna
So
go
where
for it.
is your location?
So it's in Lebanon. It's off Monroe Road. It's called Jalora Court. So it's kind of in between. It's a couple miles north of downtown Lebanon.
Yeah.
So it's considered City of Mason.
Close to 40,
I mean, City of
close to
Lebanon.
48. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Close to 48.
Mhm.
And it's in a little. It's considered an industrial area, but it looks like a strip mall.
Mhm.
We're right next to a groomer, so you
Okay.
can make whenever you're
Yeah.
with the groomer, and
And then
then
board your dog.
yeah,
And then board your dog.
exactly.
Yeah, great. I did pull it up, and I recommend people do, because to me, I thought the location was ideal, right?
Yeah.
Close enough off 71, close enough to downtown Lebanon,
Yes.
just ideal.
Mhm. And you talked about the overnight boarding a little bit, but so you can board for any length of time, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't have, to be honest with you, I was just talking to one of my employees.
I get it.
But I did have somebody ask if they could board their dog for a month, and I did
Oh,
say no.
gosh.
Oh,
That is a long
wow.
time.
I
Who
thought
boards
that
their
was-
dog for a month though? Like, where
Yeah,
do you go?
I just
mean,
didn't
you
feel
traveling
comfortable
out of
with
the
it.
country or what?
Exactly, right?
I will do
Yeah.
I've done 2 weeks, I've done two and
Okay.
a half weeks.
Wow.
Okay, so
Um,
I mean that's what I'm thinking. Your typical week-long vacation.
And I think it
right.
depends, to be honest with you, right now, it depends on the dog. If it's a dog that comes in and knows us
Mhm.
and it's comfortable being
Mhm.
there, then
Yeah.
I would be more
Consider it.
willing to than a dog that has never boarded with us and then say, hey,
Mhm.
yes, you can board your dog for 3 weeks. That's a lot. So we're just figuring that
Figuring
part
things
out
I understand
at
that.
this right now.
What does the overnight boarding look like?
So overnight, we have a few different options. We have our small flats, which are a nice size. They can still fit like a 60, 65-pound dog in there.
The flat,
The
flats.
Yeah, so we have, it's like the hotel, the flats. We have the medium condo.
Oh my gosh!
Oh
you
my
do.
gosh.
And they're all glass enclosed,
Oh,
so
okay.
they're
Sort of, they're not bars.
they're
and
not
kennels
bars.
and-
They're glass, like they almost look like a big
Oh.
shower, but fancier. here.
Oh.
And then we have the large townhomes, and then we have butler service, which is in the front, like up front. So basically, when we were talking about butler service, the nice thing is there's only 3 dogs in that kennel, so it's not loud, and they're at checkout. So when people come in and out, they, even when, you know, if they don't want to be in daycare, they're typically with their person. Not always. There's people going back and forth, but most of the time they're with their person. And then we have the senior lounge, which that is our kennel free.
Okay.
And that is a room probably a little bit bigger than this, where it has a TV, it has sofa, it has a chair, it has a bunch of places where
deck of cards so they can play bridge.
Yeah, we have right now, we have a brother and sister boarding there now, and one of them is older, you know, and the other one is younger. So the younger one daycares, and the older one they don't want to have in daycare as much, so they kind of go back and forth so that the senior isn't alone all the time, the brother, and can still go in daycare a little bit, but come back. That's the kennel free. And then everybody gets daycare included with their boarding. So we don't charge any extra for daycare. That's why we do the temperament test, so we can include the dogs.
Got it.
So everybody can get along.
This is great.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
Yeah, it is. I noticed on your Facebook page that you've got different events that you hold. Are those for the dogs that are being boarded there or in daycare there? There was one that was like a bikinis and beach balls.
Sure, yeah, just for fun. It's just for fun. It's just for publicity for our place. So we welcome anybody to come to those events.
Okay.
And we do different things. Like this week, I'm just about to. We're having a really difficult time with people returning their dogs, and the shelters becoming way overfilled.
Yeah.
So this week I'm going to be collecting. So if anybody wants to drop them off. Collecting paper towels, blankets, and towels for the local shelters.
Okay.
So that'll be our kind of activity this week. And then we're also going to be doing, and this is for the inside the daycare, but we're going to be doing like an ice cube week. So we're going to just have ice cubes and, you know, don't love ice cubes.
They love ice cubes.
Silly little things just so the dogs can have fun.
Yeah. Play dates for the dog.
Yes. And we have the same thing. We'll do like the prom and do different, as you were saying, different things. We had a derby day.
Oh, love derby day.
You know, that would be first day. But yeah, we had like little horses, and we put them on the back and let them race around and things like that. We were so fun. So,
that's awesome.
Well, you've got a grand dog that just moved, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we are realtors, so we're in the business of moving people.
And you know, my heart goes out to anybody making that a move. What a transition. And you know, it was tough on all of them. There's a 5-month-old baby. You know, my grandson has just moved to town and went on his first airplane ride, lived at grandma's for 2 weeks, and is finally home. And then there's Duke, who had to be driven across country. Right, driven across country, comes to my house, and now is finally in his own home, and like my heart has gone out to him because you know they can't express what's going on, and I can tell that he's been on high alert. So given all of that, are there any, because you have a great handle on dogs and their temperament.
Sure.
Any tips that might help somebody?
That's a good question. I mean, I know when I moved and I had my dog, it was an adjustment almost more for my dog than it was for me. The dog was off. The dog was misbehaving. The dog, when it was scratching at the door, wanted to go home.
You knew what was happening. He didn't.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, you keep it as low stress as you can. Try to keep the routine, the normal. I mean, I would say, you know, take your dog out, make time to walk your dog, get them the exercise they need, get some one-on-one time with them so they're feeling secure in that situation, because and again, it's easier said than done. If they have a relative, let them go stay at that relative's while you're moving the boxes, because it's extremely stressful. We have had people bring them to our you know, to overnight board, so they're out of the way,
and a local move, right, especially if you're a part of LaBark, right, I would recommend that.
And like when we, you know, the other, like when they had the power outage, we ended up getting a lot of dogs overnight because
Oh,
they didn't.
yeah.
They had to go to a hotel, and then they went.
Yeah.
That makes
and to
sense.
do,
It
you know,
does.
not be in the home with it hot and sweaty. So, you know, just trying to make the dog as comfortable and keep the routine as much the same as possible. I know that's almost impossible to do, but not to ignore the dog, you know, try to remember the dog is part of the family and needs, you know, exercise it, get it out, walk it.
Yeah, and like you said, it brings out behavioral problems when you don't attend to the dog's needs too, because you know they're stressed out.
Exactly.
So I do feel like I was able to help with something because I tried to walk him. It's been hot, but cooler than Arizona. So I was trying to walk the dog every day. I know the 2 days he's been home, he's gone for a walk.
Something consistent.
Something consistent.
Yeah.
And it also helps the dog bond with somebody. They're not feeling like they're completely, you know, they don't know what's going on. Like someone's paying attention to them, someone's doing something with them.
Right, that makes sense. For humans and
that's
dogs,
good to know.
right?
I'll let them know they're doing well.
Renee, so tell us, you know, what do you, in your mind makes LaBark unique from other kennels and boarding?
Yeah, so I think we're hands-on and we really work with the dogs.
Okay.
So I think that definitely makes us different. I am the person who answers the phone. I'm the person who talks to you about your dog. I'm the person who's in there. I'm there getting to know your dog. I'm playing with your dog. So it is personalized. And when I'm not there, which is very rare. I'm not now, but when I'm not there, I'm going there
for us
but
on your way there.
I have great staff. A good chunk of them have experience already, and they really, really care about your dog. So they love the dogs. So I think
all the things that we're looking for as dog owners. Yeah.
And I think that whole piece of being able to separate them and ease them into, you know, being comfortable and having it be more of like a home experience with a family as opposed to like you're going and you're just getting dropped off and you're one of, you know, a couple hundred dogs.
Excellent. Yeah. Is there anything we've missed?
I don't think so. You guys did such a great job.
Well, I'm glad. I was hoping that we uncovered all, you know, the important factors, and I'm looking forward to bringing Buddy, my buddy.
I would love to.
Yeah, so now I know we just need to set up a temperament test. It's super easy, but like I said, he almost likes humans more than other dogs. So he'd be one of your dogs curled up in the senior lounge, probably.
Curled up watching TV.
Yeah, I can tell.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We loved learning all about LaBark. And tell everybody again one more time, give them your address and where to find you.
So we are in Lebanon, Ohio. We're at 1054 Jalora Court, and that's Suite 203. Our phone number is 513-496-4131, and you can find us at LaBark Place, Dog Daycare and Overnight on Facebook, and then LaBarkPlace.com is our website.
Very good.
Thank you. And so our small business shout out of the day goes to Rene LaBar at LaBark Place Dog Care and Overnights in Lebanon, Ohio.
Thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
Thanks for having me.
And our final business shout out goes to Rene LaBar at LaBark Place.
I just love that name.
I love it too. I'm like, oh, Rene LaBar from LaBark. I get it now, right? Anyway, that is our small business shout out for the week. We're really excited for Renee and her new business, but now we're switching gears to the Real Talk real estate portion of our program. And today we're focusing on the town of Lebanon, Ohio, where Renee's business is located. So what do we know about Lebanon, Chris?
Okay, so one of my fun facts about Lebanon is it was first laid out in 1802.
A lot of history there, right?
A lot of history there. It is aptly named after the biblical Lebanon because of the many juniper trees, which are actually like an eastern red cedar. And those trees are similar to the Lebanon cedar trees.
Okay.
Today, Lebanon is known as the Cedar City.
Did I know that?
I didn't know that.
I don't think I did either.
But the next time I'm there, I'm going to look at the trees.
Here it is in our own backyard, right? And due to its age and being the Warren County seat, there's a deep history, like we said. There's a variety of new businesses like Rene's business, LaBark, and also a long time established businesses. So there's lots of activities in Lebanon. Array of housing options in Lebanon, both new and old, and we'll talk about all of that. But do you have any favorite places?
You know, I do. So a lot of favorite places, but the Glendower Historical Mansion is one of them. And I've had the opportunity to tour it, even if you're not into houses. I mean, obviously I'm into houses.
Where is that?
It is up on the hill. Like, so from Mason, if I'm driving into Lebanon, it's one, it's one of those homes up on the hill.
Up on the right on the hill as you're driving.
And so, my mom and I actually did a garden tour that was up on the hill. And those of you who are coming down 42 into Lebanon, you know what I mean by up on the hill. I mean, that garden tour was just phenomenal. People welcomed us into their homes and to tour their gardens, and seeing the Glendower Mansion was a part of that. And it was just truly special.
Wow. Oh, that sounds very
How about you?
Well, you know, I love to do the shopping there. Lots of great little shops. But I guess the thing that always comes to mind for me is, you know, the Golden Lamb. Right?
Of course.
That's an establishment, and it was actually a long-time establishment, established in 1803, sorry. And, you know, it's got a lot of great history to it. It was visited by 12 presidents. Also visited by Mark Twain and Charles Dickens. And I don't know if you've heard over the years that it's rumored to be haunted. I don't know that I've never had that experience there before, but I have had their fried chicken and it's pretty good.
And I have not stayed there, but I love that they let you go upstairs and tour the rooms. And it didn't dawn on me for a long time that people do actually stay there. So kind of like, what a nice early bed and breakfast type.
Right, exactly. Just I love, again, the history of the old and the new in that downtown area where you can visit a lot of brand new shops, but then you've got the history of, you know, the Golden Lamb there too, right?
I agree. And, you know, there's so many activities that they have in that downtown Lebanon, or throughout Lebanon in general, but that downtown Lebanon area.
What's one of your favorites?
Okay, so last year, you know, Tom and I, those of you who like are friends with me on Facebook or just know me in general, Tom and I love to go to any Oktoberfest we can.
You do.
And we love them for a variety of reasons. I don't even drink. I'm not even a beer. I don't like beer.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, I do love Wiener Schnitzel and the real thing. But we were at their Oktoberfest last year, and it had probably the best polka band that I have heard since I moved to Cincinnati in 1987. So we can't wait to go back. We just can't wait to go back to that event.
That's pretty cool. I think I really identify with the horse-drawn carriage parade that they do, and the Christmas festival, and there's that small business shopping that they do usually around Thanksgiving. So those to me are, I think, the ones that kind of stand out.
And you keep talking about that shopping.
I know, I'm back to the shopping.
You're back to the shopping.
I like the shopping there. When Ethan was little, we used to do a lot of the rides on that
the train.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
They had like Thomas the Train events and rides and things, and I'm sure that they still have all sorts of fun things for the kids.
I think they do. I see like my great nephews and stuff doing stuff like that. You know, Lebanon just has so much to offer. I think our best advice is, hey, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Go up to Lebanon or down to Lebanon or whatever direction, and you know, take a stroll through town. Go eat at a local establishment. Doc's is one of my favorites. Go to a local shop.
Yeah,
You
go
know,
shopping.
Go shop. Oh, Susanna's is
I-
a good one
yeah,
there.
I can't, gosh, there's one I really like, but I can't, it's like escapes me right now. I was there a couple weeks ago, but you know, just up and down that street, the little ice cream shop there.
Yes.
We were talking about how lots of movies have been filmed
Yes.
there.
Yeah, I
So,
forgot all about that.
so lots to explore. And you know, just like the activities that are there, there's also a ton of housing there. And we are happy to show you anything in Lebanon. We do, we have, you know, South Lebanon and, you know, the greater Lebanon area, lots of variety of both old and new housing. They've got historic homes, they've got new construction homes. You can find, you know, a small lot on a quaint little street. Some of
Yes.
those streets are just
Mulberry.
yes,
Seems
yes.
to be built in the
They're like-
1800s.
They're like, yeah, and they're kind of like remind me of like a little Hyde Park Street or
Yeah.
whatever. But then there's a ton of land if that's what you're looking for also, you know, so you can find acreage. So there's something there, you know, for everything. I know you looked up some MLS stats.
I
What'd you find?
did. So according to the Cincinnati MLS, there's currently 18 active homes in Lebanon. They're going to range in price from $159,900 to $599,900, including new construction.
Mhm.
And then the oldest home currently on the market was built in 1854.
Oh, wow.
And trust me, everything in between,
1800s.
from 1800s till now.
Yeah, so the pendings, there are 33 currently in the range from 125,000 to 399,900. And everything from a brand new construction home to a home built in 1885.
I just love it.
So yeah, we're going back to the 1800s
Yeah.
again, right?
Yeah, and then finally our sold from the beginning of the year of January 1st, 2022, 153 homes have closed in the MLS, and they range from 43.5. Now there was one at 43.5, the next one jumped to like the low 100s, up to 765. And the oldest sold home since the beginning of the year was built in 1856. So I'm sure it's got one of those, you know, I've seen some dirt foundations there.
Yeah, oh,
I've
yeah.
seen some stone foundations there, and just always amazes me when I'm in a home that old
Right.
as to the construction and how well built they are.
And the stories that each of those homes tells, you know what I mean?
Oh,
the
yeah.
generations that, you know, grew up in that home. You know, there's just, you know, always
Picturing,
something to see,
like
right?
I celebrate Christmas, so to picture a Christmas in a home built in the 1800s,
Yeah,
right? Is
Yeah,
just, you feel that
exactly.
love.
Exactly. So Chris and I would love to help you out. Again, whether you're looking for new construction, whether you're looking for something built in the 1800s, a small lot or acreage, there's a lot to be explored in Lebanon, and we'd love to help you find it.
And don't forget, we are also the experts in helping you sell your home, whether it be in Lebanon, whether it be in another city or village throughout the Cincinnati area. We pride ourselves on knowing the entire market. And because our personalities are so different from city to city. The best way to reach us is Dena and Chris realtalk@gmail.com.
And that's all that we have for today. So thank you all for joining us at House and Home Chat, Real Estate Real Talk with Dena and Chris. And we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.